how's it going? My name is Craig Parker Adams. I'm going to share with you the pedals that I enjoy using. This is my pedal board. It's missing a tuner and the AC, but this is basically it. You can see that. It's a old school MXR Phase 90 and the MXR Flanger. And this is called a Digitech PDS 1002, and that's a delay pedal that does something unique that I like, if you can see that, and that is that it allows you to split a signal and send something off to a dry, without the effect, and then with the effect. And I use that, I like that because I can have, it sets up a spatial thing, so because I use basically two cabinets, and I run an Echoplex, this thing here, which is a EP2 tube Echoplex, and I use that on one side. That gives me a slap back, and then I can also turn on this other echo through it and set that at a different speed or delay time, and then the other cabinet is dry, and I run the phaser and the flanger through both sides, but delay only happens on one side, and that just helps keep your tone kind of front and center when you activate it, because usually with an echo of some sort, it kind of, or reverb, it dissipates the dryness. So, and then the other thing about this pedal, one of the main reasons when I first bought it, which would have been in the late 80s, probably 89, somewhere around there, is that it does a sample and hold. So you can, freeze a note or a little pattern and then play on top of it. So that's originally why I got it. And then eventually I started using, multiple heads, multiple cabinets, and then I started using the mix out and the dry out. So I don't really do the sample and hold stuff at all anymore. That was just a short phase I had many years ago. But that's really basically the pedals that I like to use. And that's it. Now, I do have other pedals that have been recommended to me over the years, by friends. Oh, you got to get this, you got to get that. And so this is the tuner pedal, by the way, just one of these Boss tuners. Actually, I prefer to use the plug-in one. I think it's called a TU12. So I've had one of those for many years, and I like that. But, this for the pedal board and, whatever. That's that tuner. So this pedal that I have, which is very cool to use, is a compressor sustainer made by Boss. Again, this would have been the late 80s. So I've had this for many, many years. But this is really cool because for a period of time in the 80s, I really liked the guy, I don't know his name, but he's the guitar player in a band called The Fix. And he just has one of the coolest clean sounds that I've heard. And so this pedal here helps me achieve that vibe if I'm playing, not out of a big rig like typically what I would use, but like out of a combo amp or something. I have a 68 Deluxe, an original 68 Deluxe. And so this is something I might add to that sound. But yeah, so that's the compressor, the CS3 is what this thing's called. So these other pedals that I have, somebody told me to get this thing, and it's supposed to be like a Echoplex, like the solid state Echoplex preamp, like a gain structure of something similar to that. That's my understanding. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments, but that's what I understand this to be. I used to have the EP3 as well. I'm not really a fan of that one because I like the one I've had for 30 odd years. So, but this was to kind of achieve this front end kind of gain saturated distortion thing that I've just never been able to get to functionally work in a way that I like. So anyways, I have this pedal. Nothing against this pedal. Very cool pedal. It just, I don't really need it. So, but glad to have it. You never know, right? In that same spirit of, oh, hey, you got to get one of these things, I was advised to get this thing. It's called a chase tone. And this I found was pretty awesome, really. But again, I don't really use it. It was cool to experiment with, and it's nice to know I have it if I need it. And again, I would see this being used like, oh, I'm going to go play with some people and I don't want to bring a bunch of gear, so I'll just bring a combo amp and I want to push the combo beyond what it can do. This thing is pretty sweet. So I don't know if you can see that or not, what that is. All right, and then the last thing is this thing. It's called a Vemoram, and it's called, or Jan Ray Vemoran. So this was a happy accident where a guitar friend of mine wanted me to suss out his rig. He was having some issues with it, and for some reason he thought, oh, maybe I might be able to help with it. So, and again, this was combo amplifiers. And so this was on his pedal board. And I remember really loving this. I was like, oh, dude, that's super cool, because I think it was Bassman's that he was using. So when you activated this thing, it was insane. And what's cool about it, from what I remember, or maybe it's on the back, or there's like dip switches inside that you can click and move around to kind of get other varieties out of this thing. But basically, I have one of these, and I love having it. I never use it, but it's good to know that I do have it in case a situation comes up where, oh, I could use that thing and that'll turn that amp into way more than what that amp is. So very honored to have this. So I'm not slagging on any of these pedals. They're all super cool. Just I don't use them very often. The last thing that I have here is one of these. This is a MXR chorus pedal, EVH kind of pedal to emulate the chorus sound of the song Pretty Woman, or things like that. And it's actually pretty cool. I got some use out of this from time to time. It's not on my board, it's just the phaser and the flanger that I like to use with some echoplex and a little bit of an extra echo. But this thing's cool as well because you can split signals, and when you're using multiple heads, that's fun to do to get a wider kind of sound going on. And this has a very useful kind of chorus sound to it. But anyways, those are the pedals that I own. I don't own any other pedals than those, but it's these two MXRs from the 70s, mid 70s, I'm guessing. Excuse me. I bought them in the 80s, late 80s, maybe 89, something like that, 88, 89, somewhere in there, maybe 90, you know, right in that window. And of course, the idea with that was, you know, trying to achieve a early Van Halen kind of tonality. The phaser, I'll say what's really cool about this, sometimes I have it taped down, like my flanger, it's taped down, because when you find that sweet spot, it's very easy with your foot to knock it out of that sweet spot. So it's been taped down for a long time, many decades. So I'm not sure how the settings are, but it's set for the unchained type of feel. But anyway, so with this pedal here, what's super cool about this is that if you speed up, you know, you speed up the speed, you get kind of a cool, kind of warbly, kind of tremolo-y kind of vibe, you know. So it's actually a very versatile pedal. And so when Eddie Van Halen used to play with a wah-wah pedal in the mid-70s, he went from that wah-wah pedal to this. He got rid of the wah-wah. And then he would use this, but he would use the speed more. Later he just set it at one kind of speed and that was it, you know, the one we all know. But there are recordings of him where he would speed it up, you know, with his foot, and do these other songs, some cool cover songs and whatnot back in the day. But so anyways, those are my pedals. That's what I like to use. What do you like to use? I appreciate you watching this. Have a good one.